Right? I hope you all can hear me. I'm Ari Dossett, or for those who know me already, Rashid. I'm here with another live. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes, so you have the chance to come in and let yourself be known in the live chat. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes. If you're in your car, please put this on speaker and on hands-free, and pay attention to the road. All right, just stay safe on the road. If you're not in traffic, whether in your car or as a pedestrian, well, then relax. Put your earphones in, or AirPods in, or headphones on. Or if you're listening with a group of people, put it on speaker. This is going to be an audio live. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes. I see Samuel's here. Thank you very much for being here. Maria's here also. I received 2 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Les Brown is here too. Great. Okay, I'm glad I'm coming through clear. Demetrius here. Glad you're here. I'm all right, Dion. I'm all right. Someone is called Love Induced Forever is here. I'll start at 4 minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Class has begun. All right, look. I've already explained in one of my previous live streams that behavior modification does not mean you've changed someone. You can modify someone's behavior with rewards and punishments, but it's only the external behavior that you've changed. And the individual complies either out of fear of being punished or out of a dread of losing something or missing out on something. So let me get it straight. You can modify the narcissist behavior with external impulses, that's true. But it doesn't mean the individual is not a narcissist anymore. Someone can be a thief, okay? But because there are severe punishments for theft, they will not even try it. But the moment there is some chaos in the society and law enforcement has crashed, guess what happens? They'll take everything they can. Because this is what you need to understand. How someone is on the inside will always show up, one way or the other. Even if the individual doesn't act out their true desires or the true expectations, it will show off one way or the other. They will tell on themselves. Look, why am I repeating this? Because you need to understand that people will always show who they are, even when they don't intend to. A lot of people want to hide what they really are, what and who they really are. But unbeknownst to themselves, they end up revealing themselves. So, the best way to get rid of dangerous and risky people is to sift them out of the environment. How do you sift how do you sift dangerous and bad people out of the environment? You come with an intelligence test. Now, let me explain it well. Let's say you have pedophiles in a community, but you can't just go out there and just grab people claiming that they're a pedophile. It's not going to work. So what do? Police officers, you create fake profiles on social media of fake children that don't exist. Now, and you use those fake profiles to go online. Now, sooner or later, you will have those grown folks sexually approaching those profiles online. And make sure that there is some type of meeting that will take place where the men expect to do sexual things. And once the pedophiles show up, now you can, because they intend to do something to a minor. Now, was there an actual minor there? No, there was none. However, you use this intelligence test to trigger them to act on what they really wanted. Now, it's them that went for it to commit the crime. You did not force them to commit the crime, you just enable them to do the crime. And once they go for the crime, now they've exposed themselves to the dangerous perverts they really are, and now you can remove them from the community. Because now there is proof against them that they've delivered themselves. Now, there are law enforcement agencies doing this. And there are also volunteers who do this in their free time and they hand over the suspects to law enforcement. That happens. Now, and here's the tricky part. Those sex predators, they should be able to realize, hold on a minute, how come there are so many profiles of underage people online, on dating sites or in other places? This can't be true. And the computer server of this dating site or of this social media must be regulated by some people. So if I contact this minor on this server, it will be shown in the date that I've contacted the individual. So this can be used against me. So someone in the right mind realizes, you know what, I would fall for this. Get out of here. This is way too easy. But here's the kicker. Bad and dangerous people, 99 out of 100 times, so most of them don't even consider their own safety, unless it's an immediate threat physically towards them. So when they get an excuse or when they get an outlet to act out, they will. Some of them will see through it and walk away. For example, a thief may see a bicycle outside without any lock on it. But he will think, this expensive bicycle is all by itself here, without any lock on it. This is way too easy. There must be some camera hidden somewhere to film me, or there must be someone behind the bushes ready to catch me if I would take this bike. I'm not falling for it. In some cases, the intelligence test is way too obvious, and nobody falls for it. But in any case, an intelligence test is when you set a trap and you check who falls for it. Now, intelligence tests are used to catch bad guys over and over again because 99 out of 100 times they fall for it. Now, before I continue, have you ever fallen for an intelligence test before? I don't, just any intelligence test. Let me know in the live chat if you think you ever fell for one. And by the way, intelligence tests aren't only used on bad people, it's used on common people also. Even scam artists use intelligence tests to check who they can set up or not. Did you ever fail an intelligence test? Let me know in the live chat. Live chat, I mean. For some, it may feel like a personal and intimate question, but in these live streams, we deal with true stuff, with reality over here. Again, intelligence tests aren't just used to catch bad guys. Also, bad guys use intelligence tests just to check whether or not they can trick people. The question was, did you ever fail an intelligence test? Now, there's one thing I want you to realize about the intelligence test. An intelligence test is not always obvious, but every intelligence test has one key element to it. And the key element is something is easily available that shouldn't be easily available to you. Let's say the police wants to catch sex predators. Let's say those sex predators are covering those online profiles of those pretty underage girls. Now, anyone who looks at it will think, whoa, why are there social media profiles of those minors here who operated themselves? Huh? Don't they have parents to watch over them? And even if the parents aren't doing their job, how come nobody calls them out and is saying, what are you doing? And why aren't the moderators of this social media doing something about this? They know the law, right? So anyone who objectively looks at the situation will say, this is off. You know what I mean? But there's the thing. A sex predator, main interest is to unload him or herself. Because you also have female sex predators. So they, though their investment to just want to escape and do whatever they want, they will deny the context that's obvious in their face. Let me give another example. Let's say that you have Kevin. Nobody likes Kevin, okay? Everyone has issues against Kevin, but nobody can point out what is about Kevin they can't stand. Truth is, Kevin has nothing with him that made people dislike him. People dislike Kevin because Kevin is a man who is not easily blackmailed. And as you know, in the world, when you're not easily blackmailed, people turn on you. One day, you have a bunch of people that lie on Kevin. They say that Kevin molested several underage teenage girls. They even hired some grown women to play the role of teenage girls. You had some grown women, actresses, that looked like teenagers because they looked quite young. They hired such actresses, put makeup on them, and to fake like Kevin molested them. And this came out on social media. Now, truth being told, the allegations are horrible. So that will shock people. But look at this. All those 5 alleged victims came out together in one video. Yet, people didn't question it because either all five of them went to the same school where Kevin molested them, or they knew what was going on and they came together. But here's the thing, if Kevin molested each one of them comes from a different part of the country, how come they knew of each other's existence? How come? So the whole situation was a bit too into your face. So there was something off with the situation. But what do you know? A lot of people noticed something was off with the situation, but they didn't open their mouth because they were on the fence, thinking, this is a bit weird. But you guessed it. The people that had issues against Kevin, they exploded on Kevin. See, because now they had an excuse to dislike Kevin. And later, the actresses revealed that it was all a hoax. But now, all the people who spoke out against Kevin openly, they've revealed their negativity against Kevin, and now they can't go back. So the group that did this were actually secret supporters of Kevin, who wanted Kevin to succeed. But those people saw that Kevin had a lot of people against him, so they exposed the people against Kevin by conducting this hoax. So you had supporters of Kevin conducting an intelligence test to expose the people who were against Kevin. And once people were exposed, there was no turning back. Now, about intelligence tests, it's about examining the intelligence of the crowd. We know that perpetrators and bad people, evildoers, will likely fall for it anyway because they're triggered. We know that. But it's also about how many people see through it. Look, there's one thing the Heavenly Father does on a regular basis. That's sifting the reprobate out of the community. Look, as I mentioned before, the best way to get rid of dangerous and bad people is by triggering them to expose themselves. So you have to sift them out of the community. And you do that by fake events that kind of give them the opportunity and an excuse to act out whatever is inside of them. For example, in the United States, you have female police officers that go around dressed like prostitutes soliciting sex. And any guy who purchases sex is then arrested for being involved in prostitution. Now, the simple thing is, anyone in the United States, well, there's one state where prostitution is allowed, I believe, but anyone in the United States knows that prostitution is illegal. So if you encounter any woman walking down the street offering sex services, you must think, normally prostitution is conducted in brothels, where everyone knows it secretly happens. But this woman is in the street, in the open, walking around soliciting sex. This prostitute is either out of her mind or this is not a prostitute. This may be an undercover police officer trying to trick people. If you look at the situation, you will notice something's off with it. Now, I'm talking about intelligence tests in this live stream. It is because intelligence tests are used on us believers on a regular basis. Yes, reprobates use intelligence tests on us over and over again to see how far they can go in escalating on us. Because when reprobates see that we are walking in power and there are consequences for them immediately for acting out against us, they'll flee. Or they look for some other target to explode on. But if they see that we're not fully walking in power and they have a chance, they will take the chance. As simple as that. So, just for you to understand, anyone can be tricked. Because deceivers misuse information. You can mislead people with real information if you hide the context of the information. So anyone can be tricked. But look at this. Every trickery has one element to it, as what I explained, that is a dead giveaway. And that is, in every trickery, there is something that becomes easily available that under common circumstances is not easily available. For example, get rich quick schemes. You have those schemes out there where they tell you if you invest money in this crypto or you invest money in this stock, you'll guarantee to earn a lot of money in return. But here's the thing, money is a fiction generated by society, and money is designed to be hard to get. It's because money is hard to get, people consider money valuable. And this world is run by people believing in this fiction called money. Okay? So if you can get money easily, then everyone will realize that money is just a hoax. No, people have to believe in the value of money. That's why money must be hard to get. Either you get money by working uh, yourself off from 9 to 5, so then you have to earn the money, which is a limited amount, or you need to be part of some satanic cult in which you have to sell your soul, or you need to be part of the criminal world in which you're in danger 24/7 after getting the easy money, or you need to be a prostitute giving away your sexual health just to get money. Money must be hard to get. The moment money gets easy to get, you'll see through how fake it really is. So, knowing this about society, that money is designed to be hard to get. If you encounter a situation in which money is easy to get and there are no additional conditions required, then you know it's a too good to be true scenario. So if you go to those churches where they say, if you just sow a seed by paying tithes and offerings, God will make you a millionaire, but they never tell you about once you gain financial, once you have financial increase, there will be retaliation from the masses. They don't explain any of that to you, then you know that it's a too good to be true scenario. If you talk about financial prosperity, they should also tell you the context that in this world, when you have financial prosperity, you'll be seen as a threat. People retaliate against you, trying to get rid of you. If you don't inform you about the context and that financial prosperity is just a tool and not an end goal, then they are tricking you into a get-rich-quick scheme. Get-rich-quick schemes are intelligence tests to examine who is desperate enough to get the money. Now, look at this. If you are stuck in life, working 9 to 5, and you're exhausted, and you realize you're getting health issues from working so long, but you don't see any other option, then of course it's going to be attractive for you to listen to people tell you you can become a millionaire if you just apply certain principles. It sounds very good. But while you listen to those self-made millionaires, those millionaire gurus, you realize very quickly that they're quite secretive. And you think to yourself, hold on a minute. If these guys are really out there to help people getting free from this financial bondage that the world put us in, why are they so secretive about what they know? Why don't they just share what they know and help everyone out? No. They tell you if you use these spiritual principles like the law of attraction, you can attract the life you want. But they never go into detail how it really works. Now you need to push a course. Now you need to go to seminars. So they're so secretive about the good thing they're about to offer you. Now ask them one thing, if something is genuinely good for the public, why not make it for free and available to everyone? Why is it that you need to put a price tag on it so that only privileged people can get it? Proverbs 10:27 says, listen, when it's mentioned the fear of the Lord in Old Testament simply means that you are amazed by the Heavenly Father. The ancient Hebrew people had this obsession with fear, so they use fear in many their expressions. But we know God has not given us a spirit of fear. So the fear of the Lord is simply be amazed by the Heavenly Father. Intra aya, when you leave comments, let relate to the topic, please. Thank you very much. So, even if you're desperate for an outcome in life, if it's a trick, at some point you will figure out, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. This is a bit off. This is a bit too easy. Now look, easy things can happen in life. Not everything that unfolds easily is a trap. but it's the context that matters. If you enter a situation where you're offered money almost for free without any and without having to do anything in return, then you know that it's a trap. Now, if someone is donating to you because they stand for your cause, that's different. Then they do it from the heart and they just leave. But if someone tells you only have to do this and this, just for very tiny things, and get so many thousands of dollars, then you have to ask yourself, what's really behind this? Because if money is hard to get in this world, why would anyone just offer it for free to me so quickly? Now, if they're really generous because they don't care about money, that's different. But in this world, that's rare. It's rare to encounter people who don't give a bit about money, they just want to help other people. Now, there are people out there who have a lot of cash and they are out there to invest in other people. Those people exist. Okay? You have genuine people out there, sometimes even unbelievers, who will kind of rain cash on others just to help others out. Now, some of those people are often exploited and abused, unfortunately, but those people exist. But in general, when it comes to money, everyone wants something in return. There's something they want from you, or there's something they want to hinder with you. That's why they do it. Sometimes you have those criminal organizations that will invest in your business just to hinder your business from being credible, because they know that once it comes out that they're the ones sponsoring you, people will run away from you. That's why there are organizations that will not accept free donations, because if it later finds out that one of their donors was involved in some controversy, it will also affect them the wrong way. That's why political parties have to reveal who is donating to them, who's sponsoring them. But in any case, intelligence tests, they are common. Even the government uses it on the masses. Yes, the government does. Now, another question for you. And I want serious answers. How many of you ever conducted an intelligence test on other people? Let me know in the live chat. Okay. The manager did it. What about the rest? Now, why did you conduct intelligence tests? Now, someone already answered. Why did you conduct intelligence tests on other people? If you ever conducted intelligence tests on other people, why did you do it? Let me know in the live chat. All right. I'm still awaiting some answers. One individual uses it for job interviews. Some look for it to test the spirits to see what's really going on. All right. So I see some motives of people coming out right now. One individual want to know they were sure what they were dealing with. Now, why would you want to know if someone's easy to program? That's a bit sociopathic, but anyway. Okay, but anyway, to get an advantage. Okay, look. there's one warning about intelligence tests. Okay? If you conduct intelligence tests because you want to know for sure what it is you're dealing with objectively, then that's a good motive. But if your motive for doing intelligence tests is wrong, you are trapped by the same intelligence test. Because here's the thing, if your motive for intelligence test is a wrong motive, you do it out of fear or you do it just to take advantage of other people, you will end up being trapped by your same intelligence test. And there's one thing you need to understand. If people see through your intelligence test, they will also likely see through your motive for why you're doing it. And if people see that your intelligence test has no good motive, they now have a leverage over you to either expose you or to retaliate against you. But if you do an intelligence test and you have a pure motive, people see through your intelligence test, they will see, oh, there's a good reason for doing this. Job interviews do this all the time. Anytime you're applying for a job, they conduct intelligence tests on you. Oh, let me reveal one thing to you. Anytime you see a vacancy that you can apply for, examine the vacancy well. A lot of people that are looking for a job, they check whether the vacancy suits their interests and whether they are qualified for it. Look, beyond whether or not you are qualified for it, or you are or the job suits your interest, check the whole context. Check the context of the job. Okay, let's say you have a job, a vacancy to work in a warehouse, okay? And you see the job vacancy over there. They're looking for someone to work in a warehouse. And let's say now that every 2 weeks, you notice that almost twice a month, they have a new vacancy to work in a warehouse. We don't fear anyone. God fears not from the Heavenly Father. No. If it's a warehouse, and warehouse is known to have multiple jobs for either foreigners or people who don't have high education. So because the warehouse keeps sending out more applications for people to work as a logistical worker, okay, you can understand that. But let's say now there's a job for a manager in a warehouse. Okay? And every 2 months, let's say in January, we're looking for a manager for the warehouse. Then in March, you look for one again. Then again in May, they're looking for for a manager in the warehouse. So some people say, okay, the warehouse may be a big one, so they have multiple managers. Okay, but why won't you just say we're looking for several managers from the start? So it becomes a bit weird. You don't need many managers, you only need a few managers. So then you figure out that the warehouse only has one manager, but that every manager resigns very quickly. Now ask yourself, why are the managers resigning so quickly? That every 2 months they are looking for another manager. Why is it that no manager wants to keep the job? And here's the thing. In the vacancy, you can see that the manager would earn around $3,000 a month. So you think, whoa, this position is quite good. It pays well. Why are all the people resigning so quickly? And you see, it's a warehouse that's near the harbor. And then you begin to think, there's something wrong with that warehouse. Because if that warehouse was all right, the first individual that got the job as manager would be there till this day. Now, would you consider applying to be a manager at that warehouse or to get any other job at that warehouse if you figured out that the managers keep resigning so quickly? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. If you notice that a warehouse has some issue that all the managers keep resigning quickly, even though they're paid well, would you even apply to work as a cleaner there or any other job? Already see the answers come in. No, you wouldn't. Look, it's one thing to have logistical workers resigning because things too hard. But if a manager sits in the office most of the time, or he walks around. A manager doesn't even do hard labor. If a manager doesn't want to stay there and multiple people became managers and they left, then you know that this warehouse is either a human trafficking point or the trafficking drugs, or it's a hidden brothel. There's something wrong with it that's why people don't want to stay there. Now look, that's why even coaches would tell you, if you apply for a job, examine the vacancy. Check the text of the vacancy. Are they promising the world to you? Is the story believable? They're saying because in every vacancy, they will tell you a story to make it attractive, because every vacancy is a story they tell you to get people to want to apply for the job. If you read a vacancy for a job, but the job description is vague, would you apply for that job if the job description was vague? So it's not really clear what you will be doing over there. Would you even consider applying if a job vacancy is vague? So it's not clear in the vacancy what you'll be doing. Let me know. Would you apply for it? Nope. Many of you already said that you wouldn't. If a job vacancy is quite demanding, would you apply for it then? If a job vacancy is quite demanding, would you apply for it? There's another question. Now, someone said maybe. Now, here's the thing. If a job description is vague, you automatically realize this is so off. How can you be looking for someone but you're not clear about what you want? That means because if you don't even know what you want, how am I going to work? If I need to know what I'm getting myself into. If you don't know what you want, how the heck can I be involved with you? Okay? That means that the company is looking for a scapegoat. If a job vacancy is fake and they put it out there, it's because they're looking for a scapegoat they can blame. They may blame you for things that weren't even in your job description, not even in your contract later on. But if a job description is quite demanding, you need to watch out also. Because a job is just a job. If they're way too demanding, means they're going to put a lot of pressure on you. And that means that if later they begin to scapegoat you and blame you for everything that goes wrong, they will tell you, but you not saw the vacancy right, they were quite demanding. So a job description that's way too demanding or is a red flag. And here's another thing. A vacancy is an offer. Every offer has the option to have a counter offer. So if there's a job vacancy out there and they come with expectations and you apply for it, you're able to negotiate your salary and negotiate the conditions before you come to a contract. If a job vacancy is way too demanding, it simply shows that they don't want to negotiate. It's our way or the highway. That means that's the way they're going to treat you, our way or the highway at your own expense. So that's an intelligence test. Only someone who refuses to examine the situation would fall for it. So if you end up applying for a job and you're able to submit all the critical demands, then people will feel entitled to victimize you at work because they would think if you were smart enough, you would avoid this situation. Now, they don't have the right to victimize you. They don't. But they will feel entitled to because they would say, well, we gave a hidden warning in the vacancy we made. That's how they do it. Thanks, Inter-AF, for the subject donation. Thanks, wonderfully made. And thanks, Nadine Johnson, for your subject donations. Very much appreciated. So again, if a job interview promises you the world, you may think, okay, this way this guy looks like love bombing. If it's quite vague, you need to watch out. Also, it's quite demanding. You need to watch out also. And here's another thing. After reading the vacancy and checking what it is they want, check the history of the company or corporation that offers the job. Check their history. If you realize that the history of the company is fake or that they are owned by multiple or organizations, beware. Because if a company that offers a job is owned by another corporation, check the corporation that owns the company. And if that corporation is also owned by another corporation, then realize there's something off here. Let's say Microsoft can own a company somewhere in Brazil, and that company in Brazil offers jobs. There's two layers of ownership. Microsoft, the owner of the local corporation offers jobs. It's a two layers ownership. But if there's a three-layer ownership or more, watch out. If you have a company in Britain that owns another company in Spain, and that company in Spain in turn owns another company in Brazil, there's a three-layer ownership, and that becomes suspicious. Any corporation or company that has a three-layer of ownership, I don't think it's automatically wrong or automatically a trap, but look into it. Why doesn't that company in Britain just open one of their departments in Brazil and offer jobs in Brazil? Why do they establish a corporation in Spain that they own, and from the corporation in Spain, they establish another corporation in Brazil? Why those three layers? Oh, likely they want to evade taxes, that's why. So if they want to evade taxes, that means that they're also doing other stuff that are illegal. And I'm telling you, most people that look for jobs, they look at these things. If I apply for a job somewhere and I see that this company is owned, it's a three-layer ownership or sometimes even more, I'm going to start thinking, why this complicated structure? I'm going to ask that. Oh, here's another thing. There are jobs you apply for and they respond to you, and then you do an assessment test. Now, if you're going to work in a bank, you expect a bank assessment, something to relate to finances. If you're going to work in a laboratory, you expect some biology assessment. So you think, okay, I'll do the assessment. But what if you apply to work at, let's say, a financial institution, and you get an assessment that's about mathematical figures, or you get an assessment that's about English vocabulary? You think to yourself, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm here to work in finance, and I'm certified to work in finance. So I should be getting a job immediately. Yet, and you do this stupid assessment where they ask about the color of pancakes, or they ask about certain type of vegetables. I'm sorry, but I'm not a farmer. I'm not working with vegetables. Why do I get an assessment that has to do with vegetables, even though I'm here to work in finance? I'm telling you, that assessment is an intelligence test. The fact alone that you get an assessment that has nothing to do with the job you're about to do should warn you that there's something wrong with this organization. I had things like this happening to me. I would apply for a job. They would allow me to do an assessment, I won't say for which company it is because that's not relevant and that's not needed, but I did it multiple times for multiple companies. They made me do an assessment and they ask weird questions that has nothing to do with a job I'm about to do. And I'm thinking to myself, are these people stupid? So they have time and resources to invest in this bullshit test that's nothing to do with the job I'm about to do. Hey, if you see I'm qualified for the job, and you see I'm a proper candidate, why don't you just give me the job and get over with it? I'm telling you why. Those tests that they make you do, those extra assessments, are intelligence tests that indirectly warns you that once you work at that company or that corporation, there are going to be things that don't add up. Look, if you apply to work on a farm, they should have an assessment related to vegetables or to cows or whatever. If you apply to work at the farm and they come with an assessment when they talk about, let me say, talk about guitars or talk about pianos, you have to say it doesn't end up, sir. I'm not working in a musical theater. I'm working on a farm. So, but if they seriously tell you need to go to this assessment in order for us to evaluate your application, then you know, okay, if this employer is willing to give me an assessment that doesn't end up, then what else can they do when I have the job that doesn't end up? If even in the application process they put things that don't add up, that means that once I get the job, I'll have to put up with things that don't add up also. So the weird assessment is a warning signal that you will have to deal with things that don't add up when you work over here. Are you desperate enough to do it? No, Samuel, you're not admitting to be dumb. Absolutely not. Because often it's while you do the assessment that you realize this doesn't add up at all. If you score high on the assessment, it is either because you're just desperate for the job, or it can also be that you saw through the trick and you just answer, and you're just highly intelligent and you don't notice it, because some people just notice it. That can also happen. Or it is because you're narcissistic and you think, I don't care if things don't add up, I just want to get the damn job. For example, there was this believer who applied for a job, and they would ask you, if you had to choose to be an animal, which animal would you be? The believer told me later on, he said, Rashid, when they asked me which animal I would like to be and why, I was thinking, hold on a minute. I applied for this job to give courses in English. I'm not I'm not going to work with animals. And what? Even if I would work with animals, why would I ever think about being an animal if I'm working with animals? What the heck is this? Well, the believer said, I would like to be like a bird that's free to fly wherever he wants to. And guess what? Do you think the believer got the job? Let me know in the live chat. Do you think he got the job? Do you think the believer got the job? Let me know. I'll give the answer anyway, but just I want to know what you think. Did he got the job? Nope, he didn't get the job. Because the animal he chose is an animal that's liberty and freedom. If he would have said, I would like to be a dog or a cat, then dogs and cats are pets that are sabotaged. If he would have given an answer that would hint towards submissiveness, he would have gotten the job. Now, some of those tests they do when you get a job is to indicate how far you're willing to go to get a pat on the back. Okay, one question. Why do you think some now in some places they're not allowed to do this anymore? But there used to be a trend for a while, I believe in the 2010s, where employers would ask for a profile picture or a portrait of yourself when you apply for a job. Why do you think they were asking for it? Let me know in the live chat. I mean, I know there's racism going on, that they want light-skinned people in some places, okay, but apart from that, why would they ask for a portrait or a selfie when you apply for a job? Why do you think they did that? I'll give you 1 minute to answer. Okay, let me explain to you what's going on. Human beings are spirit beings. Okay? And as spirit beings, we tell on ourselves without being aware of it. Okay? For you to do a job, it shouldn't matter how you look like at all, because it's a job that needs to be done, right? Now, there are times they want to be sure that it's people from the same ethnic group, if there's a racial motive to it. But it's not just a racial motive. The way you present yourself reveals something about your psychology. Okay? Let's say you have a job and there are two women applying. One of the women is just a common worldling, and then you have a worldling with a bond, and she has abandonment issues. Which of the two will make extra effort in appearing good? The common unbelieving female or the one with abandonment issues? Yes. So if a woman makes a picture and she just looks calm, they would say, okay, this woman didn't make much effort in making this picture because it's just a formality. Okay, but this woman looks quite serious, or she looks quite intimidating, or she looks quite sexy with red lipstick on. We want someone that we can sabotage. Well, the one with this one over here goes over the top to give a good image of herself. So she has issues with being unbounded, being rejected. So if we hire her, we have a full grip on her. This other one over here just does it, just makes a selfie because it's just required without much effort. So she is likely to refuse when we go too far, or she may even expose us if we do things out of line. And here's another thing. If someone is demon possessed, often you will notice it with the stare they're giving to you when they look into the camera. Because demon possessed people have this type of blankness in their stare also. So that's also something they're checking out to see what are we dealing with. So that's to tell you that any type of assessment people make you go through, because there's something they want to notice about you. And here's the thing. No company is going to tell you we want people that we can sabotage to make it easy for us. No company is going to say that openly in a vacancy. Hell no. They have to trick people into that situation, and they need to find out who's most likely to fall for it. Truth being told, intelligence tests are a good way to examine whether a situation is safe or not. For example, there was this social experiment they've done in public, in which you had a little child and an actor, and the actor was faking hitting the child. The child was playing a game with the adult. The child was also in on it. But on video, it appears like a grown man is hitting a child. It has happened in London. And what thing happened when police officers came and told the man, "Sorry, sir, this is public. This is in public. You can't do this in public." And other people saw it happening and they didn't even intervene. Hold on a minute. Now, this was a social experiment, okay? But it looked so real. So intuitively, everyone should be shocked and run to intervene and rescue the child from being beaten. But now you have a police officer that comes and says, sorry, sir, you're a bit aggressive towards your son. This is in public space. Hold on a minute. So if it wasn't in public, would it just allow it to happen? So this social experiment revealed how much the public is willing to put up with. That means if there was an actual child being beaten over there or kidnapped, people would just allow it to happen. That's what this social experiment revealed about the people that were there. So now you know that those people are not trustworthy because they see a child in a dangerous situation, they just allow it to happen. They don't want to be bothered. That means as an adult, they will allow bad things to happen to you too. And also the police has been exposed because the police should be the first one to say, hold on a minute, sir, you come with us. Look, deceivers and tricksters use intelligence tests just to know how far they can trick people. But believers should always use intelligence tests just to figure out where the situation is safe or not. We have our inner radar, and once our inner radar hints something, we can examine it. Look, and I don't want to go too much about the current situation in the world, but in the current situation in the world now, there's also a massive intelligence test going on right at the moment. And unfortunately, many people are failing at the intelligence test, miserably. You guys know which situation I'm talking about. Please don't mention it too obvious in the live chat, though the YouTube guidelines, but there's a big intelligence test playing out right now in the world. And most people are falling for it, man, and it's quite humiliating. At least now we know how many unreliable people exist out there. Now we know, because that's been proven by what goes on in the world right now, how many unreliable people are out there. And now we know how dangerous it is to be yoked with these worldly people. And there's another thing I want you to realize about this. Just because someone sees through the intelligence test doesn't mean they will call you out on it. Because some people realize that, if I call this thing out, there may be controversy, so they'll just disappear. But at least the people that see through it, you will notice that they try to back away from the situation. The current situation in the world, a lot of people will see that it doesn't end up, but they know that if they speak out, they'll be a target, so they stay quiet. But you will still notice with their behavior that they're not really okay with it. But then you also notice one thing. A lot of people don't even want to admit that something is off. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question, okay? If a building is burning, a building's on fire, what do you do first? Evacuate the people or conduct an investigation how the fire started? What do you do first when a building is on fire? What's the first thing the firefighters do? Evacuate the people or conduct an in-depth investigation? Let me know. Yes, evacuate, absolutely. And after evacuating the people, you first have to check where the building is even safe to go into. Because if the building is about to collapse, you shouldn't do any deep investigation of how the fire started, because it's not even safe to go in there. So first you evacuate people, then you do, then when all people are safe and the fire is quenched, then you do a small inspection, see if the building is safe to enter, and then you do your proper investigation. That's how it goes. And after you do your investigation, in that you come with a report. Now, if a building is on fire and the fire has been quenched, and the next morning there's write a report about what happened in mainstream media, will you believe this report? Let me know in the live chat. If a building burned yesterday, okay, and people are evacuated, and the next morning in mainstream media is already a report, an official report from the firefighters of what happened, will you trust this report? Let me know. Absolutely not, because the building burnt down yesterday. So that means that still needs to be an inspection, see where the building is safe to enter, and then it will take at least 2 or 3 days, sometimes a week, to investigate what the cause was. So you should expect a report after a week. The building can't be burning yesterday, people are evacuated, and the next morning is ready a full report on what happened. It's not logistically possible, especially if it's a big building like a tower or whatever. So that's what I mean. If you hear that the building was burning and people died in the building, but a lot of people were evacuated, and the next morning in mainstream media they say it was an accident that happened, without just within just expect people to fall for it. Do you expect them to fall for it? Now, if you say yes, explain why. If you say no, explain why. Do you expect them to fall for it? And tell me why you think that, your answer. Just 1 minute, I'll give you to answer this. Why would they fall for it? Or if you say no, why wouldn't they fall for it? A building burned yesterday, and the next morning it's a full report by the firefighters presented to the media. Okay? All right, let me check the answers. Good. Your answers are correct. Naturally, if people hear this, they should say, hold on, hold on, hold on. How come the building burned down yesterday night, but this morning already is a full report by the firefighters when they do the investigation, and it takes a while to conclude an investigation? Oh, but here's the thing: a lot of people will fall for it, and let me tell you why. If people have to admit that a news message doesn't add up, they need to ask themselves, why are they even making the effort and wasting all the money airing such a ridiculous story? Then you need to realize, if they're willing to do this, it means they're hiding something. And then it requires effort from the public to figure out what's going on. And a lot of people don't want to do this. They don't want to be involved, just want to be left alone. So they'll say, oh, the news said it, so it must be true. That's how a lot of people are. So if you hear a lot of people believing the story about about the building, they don't believe the story because the story is credible. They don't believe the story because there is evidence and proof that proved it. They believe it because it's convenient to avoid reality that they can be scammed. By the way, I don't know if many of you remember this, but there was this tower in London where a lot of people lived. I believe it was called the Grenfell Tower, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was this big building in London, this big tower, where residents lived. And the tower burned down completely. It was still standing, I believe, but it burned down. And many people died. Mainstream media claimed only 30 people died. Some claimed less. But according to social media posts of residents that survived, they say at least 500 people were dead because a lot of people couldn't find their families and friends anymore. Even relatives came to ask what's going on. There are even Muslim people saying, is it because we're Muslim that the British authorities won't do an investigation of what happened? Because one thing I've realized was that they came with conclusions on what happened to the Grenfell Tower even before they counted the amount of dead people. It even went so far that a lot of the local people stormed the local city council building, so the building of the city council, just to demand answers. And after that, it was a mainstream media blackout. Dion, that's what's important to listen well when you listen well when someone is saying something. Dion thought I was talking about the criminal, but I was talking about the public. So listen well when someone is talking. Because sometimes when you misunderstand what someone is saying, you may come to wrong conclusions and make the wrong choices. I'm not attacking you, Dion. I'm just instructing you. Pay close attention to what someone is saying. Always do that. This comes for all of you. Now, the situation with that tower in London was so obvious that they tried to cover it up that nobody fell for it. And the timing was bad because you also had the Brexit misery going on in Britain at the time. But just understand the following. Most of the people out there, when they feel that something is off, they'll just escape, saying, I don't want to deal with it. Don't talk about it. Don't even talk about it, because if you talk about it, I need to face it and deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Whatever the authority said or whatever mainstream media said, that's the truth. I don't hear anything else. And that's how the masses become complicit in the hoaxes that go on. Look, it's not possible to hoax a whole population and get away with it. If you hoax a whole population, and it can only happen because people eventually are in on it too. 9/11 and Building 7, I don't want to say much about it, Building 7. Just do your own research, Building 7. They never even talk about Building 7 in media, but the Building 7 also collapsed, even though no plane hit Building 7. They never can explain it in mainstream media. 9/11 succeeded because people refused to realize something's off about this. Now, eventually, several years later, people had to admit 9/11 was bogus. But in the beginning, people didn't want to consider the fact that George W. Bush would be in on hoaxing the American people. They didn't want to admit that was a possibility, because if that possibility was true, then they would have to examine all the other presidents they had. And then their whole confidence in the USA politics would have to fade also. Look, you can trick you can trick people, okay, and they fall for it. Just because you fell for something doesn't mean you're stupid or dumb. No. But here's the thing. If someone falls for a trick, even after they fell for it, they will feel uncomfortable later on that something is off. At the moment begin to pay attention to this feeling that something's off, they'll figure out they've been tricked. But the reason why so many people are tricked successfully is because, first of all, they're not interested in what's true and what's not. They just want to be left alone and be at ease. Anything that enables their ease, they welcome. Anything that disrupts their ease, they attack. That's how simple-minded a lot of people are. If you hinder their ease, they attack you. They want nothing to do with you. If you enable their ease, they welcome you and sponsor you. So knowing this about the masses, it's very easy to hoax them. So the Western world, so not only the American public, they were in on 9/11 too. How? But a shit! How come the people were in on it? They were not the one that organized the event. No, they weren't. They were not the ones that organized the event, nor were they the ones acting out the event, nor were they the ones killing all those people. No. But they were in on it by not admitting that the situation was off. Now, well, anyone that misleads the masses will face anxiety. I don't even know why you're asking what their karma will or their recompense will be. We know that people that choose Satan's side will face side effects and that they will end up in a lake of fire. But anyway. So understand the following. That's why understand the following. Most of the hoaxes out there, the public is in on it. And by the way, karma is just energetic tension, okay? Energetic tension is real. So when people say karma does not exist, that's not exactly true. Karma, as taught by pagans, is not true. As if heaven and earth is some machine that you can manipulate at your will. No. If you operate negativity, you have negative tension. So that's what they call negative karma in the pagan worlds. If you operate positivity, you have positive tension, which is what they call positive karma. So reaping what you sow is symbolic for the tensions you have to deal with. Okay? So the mantra, your comment isn't actually correct. I had to correct this. In paganism, they use pagan terms. And sometimes they exaggerate the pagan terms and how it applies. But it doesn't mean that all the things pagans tell you are false. You don't have to apologize for the word, but I've just explained what karma really is. It's just energetic tension. An individual said that we reap what we sow, not karma. Well, that's not true because reaping and sowing in this context has to deal with the energetic tension you operate in anyway. And this is another thing about believers. Too many believers have been deceived by church into thinking that church doctrine is the way to filter the world. I'm telling you, pagans sometimes filter situations much better than believers do because they have more practical knowledge. Now, pagans may not explain what karma really is, but once you understand its energetic tension, you realize, okay, of course, if you operate negativity, you have negativity attached to you. And of course, if you're around negative people, their negative tension going to afflict you. It becomes quite logical. The error is pagans think heaven and earth is a machine. And that's where they go wrong. All right? So, that being said, I'm at the end of this live stream. Thank you for being here. If you have to go now, you can go. Eddie Johnson, do you have WhatsApp already? Because I want to add, because I want to need to contact you. And If you have questions about this topic, please ask them now. I'll stay here for a little bit, but then I need to go because I have some phone calls I need to make. And by the way, I'll be making a live stream with my whiteboard soon explaining some pagan concepts in a Christ-centered way, including things like karma and all of that, yin and yang, just so you believers understand what's going on. All right, let's see. I'll wait for a few more seconds to see if I get any questions. Yeah, but admitting that you're doing pagan stuff once in a while doesn't change the fact that there will be side effects of what you're doing. Simple as that. Why not operate fully in the supernatural and get the full life in abundance that Christ promised you? Okay, someone asked a question. Someone asked, so believers use intelligence tests to recognize safety. It's about motives with narcissists. Okay, if I understand your question correct, narcissists do intelligence tests just to see how far they can go with escaping and exploiting. That's what they do. Believers do it just to check whether the situation is safe or not and what they can do about the situation. All right, I need to go now. I have some phone calls to do. Thank you all for being here. Keep on growing in Christ. Be at peace, and I'll see you next time.